You ever watch somebody argue against something so basic that it starts to feel personal? Not because the facts are complicated, but because the person refusing them needs the confusion to stay. That's what this is, right? We're looking at, these different moments where the same mindset keeps showing up on crime numbers, on money, on identity, and on something as simple as showing your ID. No long setup, so let's go.
Per capita is literally just a way to manipulate the data to make you look better for referencing purposes. We're not going to alter the data pool and say, instead of doing the raw data, let's use per capita for the white people. Let's do per capita so the white people don't look as bad on paper. If you turn it upside down, it doesn't look like we're raping as many kids as you say we are. Every time you say per capita, you're basically saying disregard those other 30,000 rapes. Those don't count. They very much so count. All of those children count. All of those families that were murdered, they all count. It's very sad that the first way that you want to respond, maybe I'm the wrong messenger, but I don't see any White Lives Matter movement or stop raping our children movement in your communities or all rapes matter. I don't see anything like that. Maybe y'all do need to start something. Y'all do. You don't like the fact that this black girl is telling you about how y'all need to stop raping your kids, but you do. And you can go over and do the semantics of per capita versus raw data all you want. The Epstein files still look like you, not me.
So the first one is quick. She's just explaining why she rejects the idea of per capita. She says using per capita dismisses most of the data on white crime. Like adjusting for population size is some kind of trick. That's not how numbers work. That's how feelings work when the raw totals make one group look better than the story requires. Every serious conversation about crime in America starts with rates for a reason. Refusing that step doesn't protect victims. It just protects the narrative. And we're not here to do anything other than figure out the truth. Now, watch what happens when the same type of thinking gets challenged with actual data in a debate setting.
That even black kids that come from the wealthiest families, right, still commit just almost the same amount of crime, or even more, for example, than white kids that come from $30,000 median household income.
All right, Evan, I see you push your button. Which claim would you like fact-checked?
That black kids from wealthy neighborhoods commit as much or if not more violent crime than kids from sub 30K households
that are white.
That are white.
The verdict is in, and that is false.
That's not false, but okay.
There is no data. Wait for it. There's no data to directly support this claim. It is overly broad and is not backed by data.
I bet you it could take me 10 seconds to find the source. It's just too inflammatory for them to find it.
Okay, we can check after the show.
Yeah,
should have said arrest or conviction.
They're not going to admit that.
And even then, it might still be wrong.
This kid was so furious that the inherent criminality of the Negro was proven to be false. His raccoon chip was blinging off. He really wanted the Negro problem to be real. Nigga mad as hell that black people aren't as violent as he thinks they are. Shouldn't you go back to your seat relieved? Wow, we're not as destructive as white supremacy has taught me we are. Wow, I have some misconceptions about my own people. I have some soul searching to do. No, he's mad. He's big mad. On another note, I'm glad that Jubilee has this new fact-checking theme so people can get their misinformation debunked in real time. On the flip side, I'm kind of upset that Jubilee exists. And I'm hoping one day that we will be delivered from debate pornography and debate perversion. But a man can only dream.
Okay, so he walked in with the claim that black kids from wealthy families still commit crimes at the same or higher rates than poor white kids. The specific data they put in front of him didn't back that exact version of the claim. And you can see he did that frustration land. But let's not pretend the bigger picture is somehow unclear. Black Americans are roughly 13 to 14% of the population. Year after year, we account for around 50 to 56% of known homicide offenders. In 2024, it was about 56.4%. The black homicide victimization rate sits over 6 times higher than the white rate. Robbery numbers follow the same pattern. Income, reduces the gap. It doesn't erase it. You know, multiple long-term studies show black youth from higher wealth households still end up incarcerated at rates higher than poor white youth. You know, the disparity shrinks when you control for money in neighborhood, the disparity shrinks when you control for money in neighborhood. That's the end of the sentence. I don't know where I was going with that. It does not disappear, but refusing to say it out loud doesn't protect anybody. It just leaves the people most affected by the violence arguing about everything except the actual numbers. Now, this next one moves the conversation from numbers to who even gets to speak on them.
Between Jasmine Crockett and Haley Stevens supporters, the way that blackness has been used as an attack dog against progressives by the establishment has been so obvious lately and so ugly.
The black leftist playbook. Have someone speak on blackness in America that isn't even a descendant of slavery, trying to speak on the racism in American politics that they don't even know about. And then it proceeds to allow all of these white people to be openly racist and say the shit they always wanted to say to in secret. That is what these black leftists do time and time again, because Samaya, as she has that Nigerian flag in her bio, is not a descendant of slavery. So why the fuck are you trying to speak on shit you don't even know about? That's what blows me with these people. I'm sorry, if you are not a descendant of slavery, I do not want to hear your take on racism in America, because you did not go through the same experience that our ancestors went through. And a lot of your parents came over here and never taught y'all about blackness, never taught you about black American culture and all of that. And majority of you only learned it through the shit you went through in schools. So please miss me with this. Y'all are black enough to be able to speak on that experience. Unless you are a descendant of slavery, I do not want to hear your takes on blackness in America when it comes to politics.
Okay, so there's a growing habit of people with completely different historical experiences speaking with full authority about the black American experience, specifically the one shaped by slavery in the aftermath in this country. Lived reality isn't transferable just because the skin matches. Now, and if I'm being honest, our lived reality isn't that of slavery or that of oppression. And when that distinction gets treated like gatekeeping, the conversation, it just stops being honest. Now, we shift from identity to incentives. Watch this. Watch how clean this one is.
Well, this is well put.
Do you think that you assume that Republicans are the party of the rich and Democrats are the party of the poor?
I think so. I think if I were a multimillionaire, I would probably try to see the side of Republicans. I don't know why. Like I said, it's just those stigmas.
Let me ask you a follow-up question. If I know that I'm the party of the poor, what does it benefit me to try to make sure that you're rich?
It don't.
It don't.
Exactly. And so my policies are going to align with that, keeping you poor. That's why you have systems like the welfare program, where you can't earn over a certain amount or you lose your benefits. So I'm going to keep you poor because I'm the party of the poor and I need your vote. Whereas if I'm the party of the rich, I have every incentive to make sure that you become rich if I want your vote. Mm-hmm. I need to put more money in your pocket. I need you to understand that you can make as much money as you want to. I need to put systems in place that get out of your way when you're trying to open up your business. You know, I don't need to put a million regulations in place if you're a barber and make it impossible for you to get a license or go and work in a shop. I need you to make as much money as you can, and I need to step out of your way so that you can be successful if I'm the party of the rich and I want your vote. If I'm the party of the poor, I have every incentive to keep you poor. That's why I'm going to put more regulations in place. I'm going to make it as hard as possible for you to get a license to open up your shop. I'm going to make it as hard as possible for you to escape these taxes. I'm going to make sure that every roadblock possible is in your way, because once you become rich, I no longer have your vote.
It's almost like it's a well thought out, calculated plan.
So he breaks down the welfare structure in plain terms. When the system pays more for staying in place, then, hey, I need you to turn the TV down, son. Turn it down a little bit more. But when the system pays more for staying in place than it does for moving forward, people respond to that signal. That's not a moral failure either. That's basic human behavior. Calling it a calculated plan isn't conspiracy. It's just observing what the rules actually reward. And the people designing those rules have never had to live under them. This next voice, my guy Vince, he ain't soft about it at all.
Almost like when the Germans found out that the Jews are putting the Nazis are putting Jews in ovens. Some of them said, a lot of them knew, but a lot of them said we didn't know this. They didn't know this was going to happen. They never read Mein Kampf. They'd heard of it, some had, but many of them said they didn't know it. So a lot of black Democrats just don't know that the Democratic Party is against school choice. They want to take your guns away. They want open borders. They want to have grown men go into the bathroom and watch your wives and your children urinate. How many of them run on that? You will watch them when they ask them about LGBTQ, how they try to dance around it. Do you believe men can have babies? Do you believe men can have babies? What? Do you believe men? They don't want to say it. Do you believe that men should participate in women's sports? Well, they want to dance because they know they can't say it. They can never get caught on camera saying it because they know what happened to Kamala Harris when she got caught saying it. Donald Trump doubled his black vote. Matter of fact, because of people like me, Donald Trump is gaining traction everywhere. He's losing traction everywhere in America, except where? The black community. He's gaining it there. Why? Because we're taking the mask off of the Democratic Party. And AOC is going to take it off. And when she takes it off, they're done. So they gotta take her out. So the civil war in the Democratic Party is fun to watch, man. That's some inside baseball. So South Carolina is going to have the first Democratic Party primary. The black folks that vote Democrat in South Carolina are going to vote for whoever decrepit, old, senile Jim Clyburn tell them to. Because most of the young people in South Carolina are going to be voting in the Republican primary. Democrat Party's lost them. But the old chicken-eating black Democrats from the Civil Rights Movement, who Jim Clyburn controls, they're going to always vote the way Jim tell them to.
So he's pointing at something most people dance around. Large numbers of black Democrats have never actually read the platform they're loyal to. Open borders, restrictions on, school choice, grown men and women's spaces and in sports. These aren't fringe positions. They're current ones. Right? And the dancing around the question isn't accidental. It's recognition that saying the quiet positions out loud costs votes. Now, the mask only stays on when the base doesn't ask the hard questions. That's all I'm saying. Now, this last one is the most straightforward of them all.
You guys have an ID?
Yeah. An ID?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you have a form of identification.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it's racist to ask every American citizen to present an ID when they go to vote in federal elections?
No.
Okay. Why not?
I mean, you shouldn't be able to vote if you're not a citizen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? And that's not racist, right?
No.
How would it affect minorities? Minorities can't get an ID?
Good, bro. Go talk to someone else.
Okay, all right. Maybe you need to think about what you're about to say, because you're about to tell me that minorities cannot obtain ID, which is super prejudiced.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
You want to correct me, then maybe I'm wrong. That's not what you were going to say?
I think you can go talk to somebody else. I'm good here.
Oh, you're a minority. Are you affected when we implement voter ID?
Not at all.
No?
No.
Hey, she's a minority. I mean, you are too. She said that she's not affected by voter ID.
I'm good. I'm done. That's the end of the conversation.
He had to be confronted with his prejudice.
They don't like logic.
So you have an ID, though?
I have an ID.
You think voter ID laws for federal elections are racist, like Chuck Schumer is claiming they are?
I don't think we should have to have something like a passport required, since there's a fee associated with it.
Yeah.
I do think that having a passport required, if we take away the fee of a passport, would be a good...
There's no passport required.
But it's the option that we're going towards, and it's the first option listed.
So that's an option that you could have to verify your identity when voting, but that's not the only thing. That's just one of the acceptable forms of requirement. And if it's just listed first, that doesn't mean that's what they're
But
going
I don't
towards.
think that we should have anything that costs money as an option, because then that takes away people that don't have the money.
Okay. Who wouldn't have the money for an ID?
People who are low income, that's a very straightforward issue.
Well, those same people have to have an ID to apply for government benefits.
Okay.
So how is it low-income people can have an ID to obtain benefits, government welfare, government programs and benefits, but you don't think they should have to have one to vote because it costs money?
Oh, I didn't say they shouldn't have to have one to vote.
Okay, so you do believe in voter ID?
I think that if that's the path we're going to go down, take away the fee for it.
Why?
I thought I've already answered that, because I don't think there should be a tax to vote.
There is no tax to vote. You still have to drive to a voting booth and spend money on gas. Wasn't the question about... Or they have to pay for public transportation to get to the voting polls.
Or they could walk.
They could walk, that's free. So actually, you don't have to... There is no tax.
Okay. Can I take my selfie with you now?
Do you know what voter ID is?
Yeah, of course I know what voter ID is.
Okay. Chuck Schumer is saying that he's not going to support it come next week when they vote on the SAVE Act, which is a national voter ID law, because it's racist. He calls it Jim Crow 2.0. We're asking students today if they agree with him or if they support voter ID. What is your opinion?
I mean, yeah, it's not necessary. Voter fraud in this country is not an issue, and it never really has been.
Okay. Well, then if we pass the law, then nothing will change, right?
It restrict probably minority rights. People don't have access to getting IDs, so that would have an effect if it did pass.
Okay. How would it affect minorities?
Oh God, I hit the talking point. How would it?
I'll repeat the question. How would it affect minorities?
I'm just gonna end the conversation here. Thank you.
How would it affect minorities?
No, I'm good, man.
Or maybe you won't answer because you'd have to explain how black people can't obtain an ID? You weren't about to say that, were you?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Street interviews, simple questions. Do you have an ID? Over and over, the same people claiming voter ID is Jim Crow 2.0 are standing next to the black students who already have one in their pocket. Now, the contradiction isn't subtle, it's immediate. Black people, from voting, if policy is supposedly stopping us from doing that, yet black people already meet the requirement without issue. The problem isn't the policy. It's the story that was sold about it, right? None of these clips are complicated on their own. One person rejects basic math. Another gets angry when the math doesn't flatter the story. Someone else, claims ownership over an experience they didn't live. A system quietly pays people to stay stuck. A political party relies on loyalty that doesn't require the actual positions. And a simple ID requirement gets called racist until a people is supposedly harming show that they already have one. The common thread is in politics. It's the refusal to update the story when reality keeps correcting it. The refusal has a cost. It keeps people arguing about the wrong things while the outcomes stay the same. It trains suspicion toward any tool that other groups use without hesitation. Rates, incentives, standards, identification. You don't fix that by yelling louder. You fix it by refusing to pretend the obvious isn't obvious. That's the only standard that actually moves anything. So if you made it to the end of this video, I want you to write the word obvious. Obvious. And we're going to read from Proverbs. The simple believes everything, but the prudent gives thought to his steps. Proverbs 14 and 15. Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.